All right, welcome back into Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Let's cover something a little bit off the beaten path for us. This is from E. They say Kim Kardashian is saying that she doesn't believe in the Apollo 11 moon landing. It's causing NASA to clap back. Kim Kardashian saying she doesn't believe that we made it to the moon in 1969. On the most recent episode of The Kardashians, the reality TV star attempted to convince Sarah Paulson that the moon landing had never happened. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, of course, did become the first humans on the moon in 1969. That's the Saturn V rocket that lifted them into space. And this is some of that famous footage of them as they walked on the lunar surface. This flight was a defining moment in the space race between America and the Soviet Union. My friend, Professor Ken Gayley of the University of Iowa, is here to talk about this. Ken, when I read this headline, I thought about you, and I said to myself, man, we got to have you on, and we got to do somewhat of a debunking segment, because as you and I were emailing about back and forth, this is one of the nation's greatest achievements. Many conspiracies do hinge on observations relating to some of the footage that we were just looking at on the screen there. Some of these, and they're a little bit tough to make out at some points, but a lot of people are asking, hey, why aren't there any stars in the Apollo photos? Why does the flag look like it's waving? Ken, could you walk us through the astrophysical and the photological explanations for these questions so that viewers can better understand why these points do not undermine the moon landing?
Absolutely. Sure thing, Austin. Yeah, so I get it. It was 1969. That seems like a long time ago to most people. I was alive. I remember it well. And since it seems so long ago and some of the issues sound kind of technical, I understand why people may be a little confused. But look at that picture right there that you just showed. There's the sky, and it should be full of stars, right? And yet it looks perfectly dark. But there's something else in that picture, which is the planet, in that case, the moon. And as we all know from experience, see, there it is, there's the moon. We know this from experience. The moon is bright. We can see it from the Earth. It lights up the day. I mean, it lights up the night on the Earth on a full moon. It's bright. Guess what? It's hard to photograph when there's something bright in the field of view of the camera. Stars. Anyone who tries to photograph stars knows this well. You can't have a bright object in the same picture and you're not going to see stars. It's photography 101. You mentioned the flag as well, which is, NASA wanted the flag to look like it was waving. They thought that would be more dramatic. So they put a rod in the top of the flag so that it would look like it was waving. I'm sure they never dreamed when they did that, well, we can't do this because people are going to claim later on that it was all a hoax if it looks like the flag is waving. That never occurred to them. And in fact, you can see the rod. If you look at a picture of the flag, the rod is perfectly obvious. So for me, the biggest question is not why do these things fool people? It's why do people claim that there's anything reasonable to the hoax at all? It's absolutely clear. Of course, these pictures here are not great quality. So that's because it was 1969 and they had to carry the cameras with them to the moon. But that's not evidence that it was a hoax.
I was emailing you, as I said, about this earlier today, and you told me that if this were a conspiracy, it would be a conspiracy of the scale of which would be completely unheard of. Talk to me about the impossible amount of people, the impossible amount of data that would have had to been in on this or faked it in order to pull such a thing off.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And you mentioned in the beginning that Kim Kardashian is one person who's put this out, and I don't blame her. There's a lot of people that find this kind of interesting to look at. But I thought it was interesting that she was basing it on 3 words that Buzz Aldrin said. That Buzz Aldrin said it didn't happen. 3 words totally out of context. And how do 3 words placed against the absolute mountain of evidence that we did go to the moon? There's all the astronauts that actually went there, the astronauts that know the astronauts that went there, the engineers that built that rocket that we're seeing right now. There was about 400,000 people involved in the Apollo missions. It was a huge undertaking for our country and for all of humanity. A lot of people put their lives on the line for it. And it is arguably, as you mentioned, possibly our greatest technological accomplishment of all time. Just the aesthetics of it. You can go outside and look up at the moon and say, we've been there as a species, we have been up there. And Buzz Aldrin is one of the few who has been there, and he's the only one. he's the oldest of the astronauts and the only survivor from that Apollo 11 mission. So he, of all people, would never say that it didn't happen.
So, what's the danger of things like what we are seeing in this past week? High-profile celebrities who are questioning the validity of the U.S. landing on the moon. By the way, we did land on the moon 6 times. 12 men have walked on the moon. All of them have been Americans. What's the danger? What's the concern when high-profile figures bring up ideas like this?
Right. Well, I think the problem is that it fails to appreciate the debt that we owe to people like Buzz Aldrin. I mean, Buzz Aldrin, the man, put his life on the line many times for the country and for humanity in his process of getting to the moon. And he doesn't really like it when people claim that he's a liar and a thief and a coward, which he was once called to his face by a man who he summarily punched in the jaw. And you can really hardly blame him, because it was not only for Buzz Aldrin himself, but it was for all the people that he knew who not only put their lives on the line, but in fact, in many cases, paid the ultimate price. And so we do owe a debt to those people. And we did put a great deal of effort and money, indeed, into the mission. So it was a massive undertaking and a huge accomplishment. And to just blithely just pretend it all didn't happen because Buzz Aldrin said it didn't happen when he was talking about all the dangerous things that could have happened to him on the mission, not the mission itself, is really preposterous. It's really insulting to all the people that put their lives into it.
The interim director of NASA, who also happens to be the transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, he responded to this. He says, yes, Kim Kardashian, we've been to the moon before, 6 times, and even better, the Artemis mission is going back under the leadership of the president. We won the last space race, and we will win this one too, he says. So, Ken, we hope to go to the moon soon too, don't we? Is it clear when we're going to get there? I know there's been some delays.
I don't know. It's hard to predict. The Apollo missions face their issues. And it was pointed out that for a long time we didn't have the technology to go to the moon because it was no longer necessary. So when the Saturn rocket was retired, we really had no way to get to the moon. So we have to rebuild the ability to go to the moon. And we have to do it in a way that's probably going to be better, more efficient, and using better technology. And ultimately, we have looked at going further than the moon. So how long it will take humans to do it is a big question. What is the importance of having humans actually there versus robots doing it is a big question as well. So we'll wrestle with these questions, but nevertheless, there are people putting their lives on the line, and they should be honored for their efforts.
And they are, of course, looking at that Starship rocket to eventually do some Mars exploration, possibly one of these days. That's long in the future. Ken Gayley, always great to check up with you. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Thanks.